Hello everyone, my name is Leandro. I'm from Ensemble University. Today I would like to tell you a story entitled Batu Menangis or The Crying Stone. Somewhere deep in the forest of Kalimantan, there is a stone that cries. Not sometimes, not when it rains, always, quietly, steadily, like something inside it never stopped being sorry. And if you sit with an elder long enough, they will tell you exactly how that stone came to be. There was once a girl named Darby. She was the kind of beautiful that a village remembers, the kind people talk about, point at, admire from a distance. But as she grew older, beauty became something she leaned on too heavily. She began to notice the holes in her mother's sarong, the way their height leaned a little to one side, the way other girls of her age seemed to have more fabric, more food, more standing in the eyes of the village. And instead of feeling grateful for her mother, who worked herself to the bone just to keep them both alive, Darmy felt embraced. Her mother was a widow who had been raising Darmy alone for years. She worked with her son, worked through the heat of the day, and never once made her daughter feel the weight of it. She loved Darmy the way only a mother with very little can love, completely, without a condition, with everything she had left. She went without eating so Darmy could eat. She wore the same torn clothes seasons after season so Darmy could have something a little nicer. But Darmy had stopped seeing any of that. All she could see was what they didn't have. One morning, her mother asked her to walk to the market together. A simple thing, just a short trip down the road. Darmy agreed, but from the moment they stepped outside, something in her posture made clear she didn't want to be seen as part of this woman. She walked ahead, far enough that a stranger passing by would never guess they were together. Her chin was up, her steps deliberate, and her mother, quiet, patient, carrying her worn cloth bag, followed a few steps behind in silence. She was used to it by now. At the edge of the market, a neighbor spotted them. Someone friendly, someone just making conversation. She looked between the two of them, curious, and asked about the woman walking behind Darmy. Without hesitation, without any visible weight in her chest, Darmy glanced back and dismissed her own mother as a servant. Someone who helped around the house, nothing more. Then she turned and kept walking. Her mother stood very still. She had given this girl everything a person could give: her sleep, her food, her youth, her dignity. She had carried this family through years and hard and quiet struggle. And she had done it without complaint, without bitterness, without ever making them feel like a burden. And in one small careless moment on a dusty market road, all of that had been reduced to nothing. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't reach out to stop her daughter. She just stood there while something deep inside her came apart without making a sound. That night, she sat alone by the river. The water was dark and slow around her, and she cried the way people cry when words have run out. Just breathe, just tears, and the weight of everything pressing down at once. And then she prayed, not for revenge, but not even for an apology. She simply asked God to help her daughter feel, even just once, the full weight of what she had done. The next morning, Darby was on her way home when something stopped her cold. She looked down at her feet, and they had turned to stone, both of them solid and gray, fixed to the ground as though she had always been part of it. She tried to move and found she couldn't, and then the stone began to rise, past her ankles, past her knees, slow and deliberate, like it had already decided where it was going. Panic took over completely. She reached out for anyone nearby and found no one. She cried out for her mother, over and over, her voice cracking under the weight of something she finally, fully understood. She pressed her hands together and begged, the real kind of begging. Not performed, not calculated, just raw and desperate and far too late. The regret was poured out of her in those moments was real. There was no question about that. But the stone kept climbing past her waist, her chest, and her throat. By the time the sun went down, Darby was gone. In her place stood a large stone in the middle of the road, gray, still, and permanent. And from that stone, water ran down its surface, through its cracks, collecting quietly a bit at its base, steady and endless, like something inside it had never stopped grieving. The people of the village said it was her tears, that somewhere inside the stone, Darby was still there, still sorry, still reaching for a forgiveness that could no longer find her. The stone is still there, they say, and it still weeps. Not as a horror story, not as something to fear, but as a reminder, still and permanent, that the people who love us most are not always the ones who look the most impressive. Sometimes they are the ones walking quietly behind us, carrying everything, asking for nothing. Take care of your mother while you still can, before all you have left is storm and the sound of water that never stops. Thank you.